moving forward. "We're going to have to investigate thoroughly." Jacques continued to stare at Roger without saying a word, anger rolling inside of him. He opened his mouth, but immediately closed it, because he didn't want his words to come back to haunt him if he said the wrong thing. Roger was trying to provoke him, and Jacques was determined not to let him win. Nodding with understanding, he said, "Roger, do whatever you need to do to get to the bottom of this," Jacques said calmly. Roger cleared his throat again, and Jacques knew straight away what his next words would be. "Well, Jacques, until the investigation is over, we're going to have to ask you to take a leave of absence without pay. This is the last time I work for anyone else." Jacques didn't need a mirror to know that his eyes were dancing in his head. He could feel his heartbeat accelerating, so he took a deep breath. He didn't care about not being paid. It was the mere fact that they were asking him to take off that was the problem. There was no way he was going to continue to subject himself to their underhanded finger-pointing. Leaning back in his chair, Jacques placed his forefinger to his mouth, pondering what he should say. Clearing his throat, he leaned forward slightly and looked at each of the men in the eye before speaking. "You know what? As of right now, I'm giving you my notice." One of the other men, who had been silent up until this point, held up his hand. "Now, Jacques, let's not make this personal." Jacques turned his attention in the man's direction, glaring at him as if the man had lost his mind. Jacques then turned back to Roger and noticed beads of sweat popping up on the crown of his head. "If you are trying to accuse me of corporate espionage, along with being a thief, then how could I not take it personal? Come on, Jacques, let's all be reasonable about this. If you want us to pay you while you're out, then we can discuss it. But again, we've got a company to run here," Roger said. "I understand that, Roger, and I have my dignity and a reputation to uphold," Jacques said, waiting for the man to respond. Jacques had been a mentor to every chemist who stepped foot into his lab at Fairchild Limited. The 36-year-old chemist loved working with young people, sharing his knowledge with them. He reminded them that on-the-job experience could offer them a wealth of knowledge that would stay with them forever. He tried to impress upon them to do their jobs with integrity, respect, and never, ever look for a shortcut because they didn't exist. After a few minutes, Roger still hadn't responded, and Jacques had had enough. There really wasn't anything left to discuss. It was time to cut the ties that bound them together. Jacques pushed his chair back. "You know what, Roger?" he said. "I've created many excellent scents for this company over the years, so I know how good I am. You have the #1 best-selling women's perfume in the country because of me," Jacques said, pointing to himself. "When you needed to come up with a scent for the hottest Hollywood actress in the world, I'm the one that created that delicate perfume which bears her name, all of which added up to a lot of profit for Fairchild." Roger made a motion with his hands so that Jacques would remain seated. "Jacques, nobody is negating your talent, but we've got to get to the bottom of this." Jacques stood anyway. "So you've said, and I'm your #1 suspect? You're going to have to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that I did it," he said, adjusting his suit jacket. "We're only asking you to give us about a month to complete the investigation, and then you can come back to work," Roger said. "No," Jacques said adamantly. "You honestly think that I'm going through all of this? Be laid off without pay, no less, and then continue to work for you knowing that you don't trust me? I don't think so." Jacques pushed the chair under the table. "You gentlemen have a good day." Turning on his heel, he headed for the door, ignoring the whispers from the men. He needed to get back to his office to complete some necessary paperwork so that he could leave with things in order. Jacques quickened his steps, moving down the hall, past his assistant's working station to get to his office. Rounding the desk, he flopped down in his leather chair, stretching his legs out in front of him. Replaying the